Today I have the Pentax FA 31mm f1.8 limited lens to show you. The lens includes a soft pouch. Inside the pouch it has felt and extra padding and support on the bottom. The lens itself is all aluminum with a steel mount. The cap itself is also aluminum. Pentax engraving with felt on the inside. Helps the cap stay on the built-in lens hood. Adds enough friction that it won't come off. I currently have a 58mm Hoya Super HMC UV filter connected. The reason I chose this one is because the glass and the filter thread, there's some room between them. I had initially bought a filter or two that did not have that extra room. I noticed that the 31 lens element curves quite a bit, and the filter thread is right up to the glass, so there wasn't enough room, and the center of the front element was actually touching the filter glass. So the Hoya HMC and Super HMC filters work with this lens. As I was saying, the lens is all metal, aluminum casing. Grip for the manual focus ring is machined aluminum, as well as for the manual aperture control ring. This is a FA lens, which means full frame, which also means that it will include a aperture ring. I'll put that up to the microphone so you can hear how that sounds. It's very smooth. So you've got a button here that you just press down and lock into automatic for camera controlled aperture. The manual focus ring is also very smooth. You can change it with one finger. It makes a little bit of noise when it's moving. Put that up to the mic as well. Otherwise, it's very smooth, very easy to use in manual focus. It's also very fast in autofocus mode. It uses the screw style autofocus. Does not have a motor built in, which is pretty standard for Pentax limited line. They only have motors in some of the DA and the DA Star. Overall build quality is really great. This lens does not have quick shift focus. It was before they started offering that feature. Basically means when the lens is attached to your camera and you have it set in the autofocus mode, you cannot rotate the manual focus ring. With quick shift, if it is set in autofocus mode, you can also rotate the ring. There's some type of clutch inside those lenses that allows that to happen. Most used reason for that is if you gain focus on something and then you want to slightly change your focus with quick shift, you can do that. Otherwise, with this one, you'd have to switch your camera to manual focus and change it slightly, or you can press down the release lever. I wouldn't recommend that, but some people do that to quickly change your focus. So it does not have quick shift. Otherwise, extremely solid build quality. Lettering is slightly engraved and painted. It has a full distance scale with aperture numbers. Usually see this in current production lenses. It shows in the cost of the lens, but I believe it's worth it for something you can really rely on. The lens is 31mm in full frame, which means approximate normal focal length in APS-C. So this is my go-to lens for pretty much anything excluding macro work and telephoto. I use this lens all the time for conventions, events, family gatherings, everything you could think of. So I'd have to say that this is my most used lens in my kit. It's a great focal length even on APS-C. So if you have the money to get one of these lenses, I would highly advise it. It's extremely sharp. f1.8 aperture, it's still sharp. The one negative that I've found so far is that it does have some chromatic aberrations, such as purple fringing, depending on your aperture and how contrasty the scene is. Also, the general contrast of this lens is extremely high and extremely vivid. It's hard to explain in just words, but you'll notice a difference just out of the camera. You set your camera to RAW. You try this lens and you try another just general purpose lens, and you'll be surprised how amazing the contrast is from this lens. I think that's what gives the 31 some of its special status, is that the results of what you can get with this lens compared to other ones. That's part of the reason why it's so popular and so sought after. So I would suggest checking this lens out if you ever have the chance. It's an amazing lens, and definitely my most used and one of my favorite lenses. It has a few quirks, but I'd say pretty much any photography tool has a few quirks. Thanks. This is the 31mm f1.8 limited lens from Pentax.